Hi guys, I'm Dhwani, the host of Mind Your Business. I hope you watched the first episode of Tyagi's Eatery. If not, there'll be a link somewhere on the screen. So please do watch it. And today, in our second episode, we are in conversation with Mr. Sylvester Merchant, who is a co-founder of Lakshya Trust, which is based in Vadodara, Gujarat. And in this conversation, in today's podcast, we have spoken a lot about Mr. Sylvester himself being a part of community. How are they helping the LGBTQI community in terms of providing shelters to them, in terms of awareness, in terms of giving them jobs. You will really enjoy it. You will know a lot of things. All your perceptions about LGBTQI community will be answered. You can understand a lot. There's a lot of awareness, a lot of things. There's a lot of Lakshya Trust also, about Lakshya Trust. How did he start, from where they got funding, the whole journey. So please do tune in, watch the entire episode. And due to some technical reasons, we were not able to record the beginning of the podcast. But please, I hope you really watch it and enjoy it as much as I did. So please do like, share, subscribe. If you could please introduce yourself, what do you do? Your work, a little specifics about you we would want to know.
Okay, so I'm Sylvester Merchant, and I also go by the name of Sylvie, and I'm an LGBTQI rights activist, as well as I do a lot of work in the health sector,
Right.
Especially a lot of health advocacy issues we work on. And of course, with it is a lot of work related to LGBTQI, health and human rights aspects. So that's what we do, basically.
Great.
Yeah.
So, where do you work, and what is the company organization about?
So basically, so I'm founder member of, in fact, I'm a co-founder of Lakshya Trust, which is a community-based organization
Right.
which works on LGBTQI issues. So very specifically, we work on HIV/AIDS awareness and prevention, importantly, and uh, a lot of our work is also related to providing social security,
Right.
and social benefits to the marginalized communities within the LGBTQI spectrum.
Right.
So, here where I'm sitting basically is one of my offices in one of the three cities which we work in Baroda.
Okay.
We work in Baroda, Surat, and Rajkot.
Nice. Okay.
And uh, uh, here, a lot of our programs are focused on HIV/AIDS awareness and prevention. And importantly, in this building only, we also have a shelter home for transgender individuals.
Great. So, apart from Gujarat, like why specifically you started the trust here in Gujarat and not other states in India per se?
Okay, so very natural flow was because I'm born in Gujarat. I'm a Gujju myself, and Baroda happens to be my karma bhumi, and later afterwards Surat and Rajkot kind of added in. So that is basically that reason. Importantly, why we actually started here because when we started way back in 2001, uh, uh, homosexuality was illegal.
True.
And importantly, there were no conversations around same-sex issues and same-sex marriages. The kind of conversations we are having in the current times. In fact, it was very much a taboo, even to talk about, let alone open an organization focusing on the
Which
issues.
year was this?
This was in 2000.
2000.
So, and of course, a very young version of me. And since I myself belong to the community. So there were a lot of things which I wanted from this initiative. One being the kind of acceptance or the kind of advocacy, the legal fight which we are kind of giving. So at that point in time, we initially started with very few people, I would say, a very small team of community-based people, basically. And in those days, even from within the community, also I had to face a lot of backlash because very naturally because things were not open, almost illegal, I would say. So there were a lot of concerns about people about being open and once again, very importantly, in bigger cities, if you look at cities like Bombay, Delhi, Chennai, these are metros where still there were conversations around it, but in place like Gujarat, traditionally conservative
The society is
society basically
yeah,
happens to be
true.
more conservative. So there was no scope of opening up a conversation, opening up a dialogue, opening up a platform to basically talk about same-sex issues. So that was very much also a reason. And then I myself, well, I belong to a small town, so I know what are the issues basically because it's more difficult for people from interior parts of the country to kind of come out openly or to talk about these issues. It's more comparatively easier in cities and in two-tier cities and in metros. It is much more comparatively kind of okay, I would say. Yeah. So that's what basically prompted me to start this year, and of course my Guji roots also. So yeah, it was a combination of both.
So when did which year did you open up, come out?
Okay,
Or when did you realize, like,
so I think so when we talk about LGBTQI individuals opening out or kind of coming to know about themselves, I think it is exactly the same age when any teenager would know that he or she is attracted towards the opposite sex. So I think it basically everything generally goes the same. It is just that the attraction is towards the same gender. So it's basically that. So talking about me, I think I kind of knew from quite an early time, I would say, uh, almost when I was 10, 11, that I was different.
Right.
By my teens, early teens, I realized that I was emotionally attracted towards men, or guys, basically guys of my age, and so that was it. And the good part was that I never felt uncomfortable related to that. Majorly because I still am a very avid reader.
Yeah.
So I used to read a lot of things, a lot of stuff in those days, magazines and all. So at that point in time, I was very, by that virtue of that kind of information coming in, I was pretty sure that, okay, so there was this term that, okay, the people who are attracted towards the same sex are known as homosexuals or gays. So I used to read that. So those were constant affirmations which I was kind of, almost, I would say, uh, uh, accustomed to due to my reading habits. So I never had this issue about my own acceptance about my own sexuality. Um, so that was one, and then eventually, when I kind of grew up and started reading more and getting more information through films and other uh, mediums, I would say, it was kind of pretty obvious for me that this is what I am. But there were never any issues related to self stigma,
How
self
about family
acceptance.
acceptance?
Yeah, so that was so. I live with my mom, and it's, well, she's a single parent.
Okay.
Um, so my mom, I never kind of formally came out to her.
Huh.
Once again, because in our families, typically Gujarati families, we still do not generally talk about
Yeah. To parents.
parents.
About that. Yeah,
Okay,
right.
be it heterosexual or homosexual, it hardly
It's the
matters.
same.
It's the same there as well.
True, true.
Okay, and especially at very young age, you're still very conscious about a lot of things. So it was it was it was always her insistence of marriage, my getting married to a girl. With me, I would say, with my mom, especially the marriage part, I had a long running struggle explaining her that why I did not marry you.
Yeah.
Okay, so all the other tick boxes I marked it very nicely: education, academics, and a good boy, this, that, and all. But when it came to marriage, of course, because in a South Asian society, everyone is supposed to get married.
Yeah.
Okay, irrespective. So, what happened at that point in time is there were there were patches of struggle and tension between me and mom. Uh, I clearly told her at one point that am not going to get married, and she used to, as all the mothers,
All the
very
moms.
concerned that what will happen to you, who will take care of you when you grow old and all and stuff like that. So that was it. But then I think it was quite later that I came out to her in a very indirect way that I'm not don't because she used to put so much of efforts in convincing me that why it is important for me to get married and who will take care of me, this, that, and all. But then, so there were a lot of other things going simultaneously. So one of the founder members of Lakshya Trust, Manvendra Singh Gohil,
Yeah.
a very close friend of mine, and my business partner, he came out openly in the newspapers, and it was all splashed, and Oprah Winfrey called, and
Yeah.
we had all these things. So Manvendra was a very fresh celebrity at that point in time, and the news, the Gujarati news, it carried this whole front page full
He was
cover
all
story.
over.
Okay, and one of our intriguing neighbors, uh, the person, he actually came with that newspaper, Divya Bhaskar, and he said, okay, "Oh, this is the same person who comes here all the times whenever he's in Baroda. He's a good friend of Sylvester, isn't it?" Oh. So it was 2 and 2 4 at that point in time. So technically, I did not have to come out. It was thanks to Manvendra that we, आपके साथ हम भी, it was like that. So and then I think she kind of, she still had some. There was a small patch at that point in time that she was really disturbed and all. And then I had to kind of, tell her that, look, nothing is going to happen, don't worry. We have ample examples of heterosexual men or women or married couples who do not even, after marriage, they don't even, own up to their parents of during their old age and all those things. We have a lot of examples. So getting heterosexually married is not at all a guarantee that you will be taken care, I or you will be even taken care at the old age or whatever. So I think it is important and it is more wiser to kind of live in the present times, which are so dynamic and changing all the times. So it makes sense that when then I think eventually I think she came to peace with the situation, I would say. So it's we still when she knows about me. There are a lot of my gay friends, transgender friends. They come to my home. In fact, a lot of my all the friends basically come to home, and uh, uh, there was an initial time when she used to question, but now I think she's a lot of peace with her own self, and this is not imposed. This is, I think, also by the virtue of age, by the virtue of that experience which comes in after that.
Correct.
Okay, so I think now it's kind of fine and all, and then of course I also used to give interviews in the local newspapers and all,
Yeah.
basically due to the work which we do.
Yeah.
So that used to be also carried in and all. So now I think it is more. I would say it is more at peace with family, especially my mom, because I lost my dad when I was a kid. So it's basically me and my mom only. So it's my world is just her. We do have, like, I have my relatives and all, cousins and all, but I think my priority is only her.
Mother.
That's it. So yeah, basically. But yes, once again, having said so, it is very important that people, whoever, they will be having those kind of struggles when someone comes out to one's own self and also to the society or to the family. There is going to be a, a sensitive time where which really needs to be handled very carefully, I would say. Yeah.
What is your education? What's your qualification?
So for me, what actually happened is, uh, in I think I I was struggling with my own self because in I think in 11th, when I was studying at that point in time, because once again you are in almost your teens, late teens. Okay, a lot of it is happening with you within your body, within your own mental health also, because
Right.
those teenage, basically
Yeah.
late teens and all. So at that point in time, there was a rough patch basically related to not to my sexuality as such, but then I I had some issues with my school teachers.
Uh,
Okay, and they were not very supportive.
okay.
Okay, so then I had to actually drop out of my. Actually, I dropped out
This was
of
in
my
11th?
12th. 12th.
12.
12th. 11th I did. जैसे तैसे करके. 12th I said, okay, let me survive, and then maybe after 12th or something I will kind of. Because, okay, so with me, I identify myself as a trans person.
Yeah.
Okay, so and with me, what also happens is that my expressions, my gender expression is feminine. So what happened with me from very early childhood, that because if a boy is behaving in a feminine way, a lot of attack comes through. If a person is gay and he is not feminine, they can still survive.
Yeah.
Okay, children are cruel. They can
Yeah.
be really cruel. Okay, and the same happened with me because
You were
gender
bullied?
expression.
You were bullied?
Yes, I was bullied. I was not bullied by my schoolmates, I would say, but it was more of bullying
Teachers.
from kind of teachers, I would say. Seniors, yes, my classmates were very supportive.
Nice.
I think some very ignorant teachers, I would say, they were supposed to be teachers of science and biology and stuff like that. But anyway, so due to the gender expression, I was directly targeted. And that was the time I was a very good, actually bright student, but then I had to kind of, drop out of that. And then when this happened, uh, because a lot of things were also simultaneously happening, especially because I was so concerned about my career at that point in time, what I will do.
Yeah.
Because if I drop out and all, but then and I didn't want to go back to the school because I didn't want to go into that circle once again, that the circle of discrimination, stigma, whatever happens, basically. So at that point in time, I was very, very clear that whatever I will be doing, I will be doing it my own. Okay, so at that point in time, that whole social enterprise, the journey of an enterprise, that whatever I will be doing, either it is going to be a business or it is going to be anything else, I am going to be on the driving seat. I am going to be the boss of everything, and I will take the shots. It was very, very clear from
Brilliant.
12th dropping out. Okay, so
Brilliant.
so that was it. And then uh, my mom also did not force much because comparatively we were very, I would say, very uh, comfortable in terms of finances and a lot of things. So she said that okay, whenever you want to do it, you can, you can rejoin or whatever,
Yeah.
and you're fine doing that, and that was really good of her. And then I took a break, and then after that break, we went to Rajpitla because my mom got transferred to Rajpitla.
She was working.
She was
Job.
she was a sarkari. She basically works in. She used to work in the health department, and
Okay.
actually she retired as a chief matron from SSG hospital.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was all sarkari naukri and sarkari comforts throughout. So that also was a cushioning in a way.
Exactly.
Okay.
I was about to say, और क्या चाहिए? In India, yeah.
So
और क्या
that was also cushioning in a way, but yes, I was also very determined in the sense that okay, now whatever I will be, so studies was out of question. So sarkari naukri to milne se nahi in that sense. So whatever I am going to do, I will have to pave the way for that.
Right.
Okay, so for that, I was kind of prepared, and kind of, a lot of things were kind of going on in my mind at that point in time, and then I got in touch. Uh, I got actually the hold of the first gay magazine of India, the Humsafar Trust. The gay magazine's name was, I think, just a minute, Humsafar, yeah, Bombay Dost. Bombay Dost.
Okay.
Published by the Humsafar Trust during that time. And it was in the late 90s, actually, real late 90s. Actually, mid 90s. But I was a very early bloomer that way, and I kind of, used to pick up very, very fast. Since they cut down my studies, so I have to do something else as well. So then what happened is, and at that point in time, there was, in the magazines, in those days they used to have pen friendship
Yeah.
columns.
Yeah.
Okay, they used to have pen friends and all those things. So I wrote a letter to someone in Gujarat, in Baroda actually, and the person was in Baroda with the post box number and all, and then Amarpreet Gill, and then he in turn wrote to me, and at that point in time I was in Pavijettu, once again a small town. And then he wrote back to me and he said that we should meet up, and I said yes we should and all. So I actually came down to Baroda, and then he used to live in Makarpura in those days, and then we met over tea and all, and then he said that there is someone from the royal family also who is gay and all. So at that point in time, because I was like just teenage and all, so I said, oh my god, there will be a Rajkumar also who is gay. So and very innocent actually.
Yeah.
So very and look, at that point in time, you are also still looking for someone as a role model also. Okay, someone
True.
more elderly and something like that. Though he was not that elderly because like there is not a very big age
Age
difference
difference.
between us but yes, there is. So um, he then introduced me to Manvendra Singh.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, very conservative prince, very different, very formal, very old-fashioned, uh, conservative a bit. I would say that was what my first impression was there. And then we met, and then my mom actually got transferred to Rajput within 2 months or something. And then I asked him that, I really need a house there because, the government quarters was not available at that point in time. And then finally we got a house and then a government quarters and all these things happened. And that's how we. So I lived in Rajpipla for almost 7 years.
Wow.
Okay, my mom was there. She served for 10 years, more than that. And during that patch, that time, we started meeting each other. And in at that point in time, I told him that like let's do one thing. Let's organize people because it was only in Bombay that the Humsafar Trust was there, but in Gujarat there is nothing. So we need to do something on those lines. So basically, in 2000, I would say, and through pen friendship, I used to also write letters to other people in Gujarat. So,
So you were like network
I
building
hope
kind.
a lot of network building. In those days, every month I used to receive 60 letters
Wow.
from across Gujarat, in Hindi, in Gujarati, and in English. So my mom was so fed up thinking, how many letters are like, why are we getting too much of letters? And so finally, then Manvendra said that let's do one thing, let's open a post box number. So,
Wow.
so it was Lakshya Trust, post box number 47, Rajpipla, 393145, District
You have
Bharuch.
great memory. You do have great memory.
So it was in Bharuch district at that point in time. Now it is Narmada. So that's how it started, and then we did the first Gujarat's first gay conference.
Oh,
We
wow.
did in 2000, and at that point in time, we kind of called government sector who wanted to work with us. The Municipal Trust was there, and health department basically because they were very keen working on the communities, the population, but they didn't have any source to go to.
Source. Yeah.
So that was, I would say, the starting point of the organization, and we we formally registered it, and within the registration of 1 month, we within month I think they granted us the first project.
Yeah.
The first project came in Baroda, then Surat, and
So this is the Lakshya Trust.
Lakshya Trust.
Okay.
So because
So it was in 2000.
it was in 2000. So this is how we formally. So my starting also was very this thing that I didn't have to struggle in that sense. I registered it because actually I, frankly speaking, so I wanted to become a designer. Nothing related to social sector. And as I said, I was never trained in social
Yeah.
sector or anything. But yes, I still have a lot of this thing in aesthetics, designs, and stuff like that. So at that point, I was very this thing that I will be a fashion designer. A lot of gay guys were just being fashion designers. Everyone wanted to be one. They still do. So that's what I wanted to do. That's what my actual passion was at that point in time. But then Lakshya happened, and when the health department came in, basically it was Gujarat State AIDS Control Society, and they were really looking out for gay groups to work with, and they couldn't find any and all. So last day, so we had this 3 days conference
Yeah.
in Rajpipla.
Yeah.
So last day we called them. So they saw so many people and they were overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And then they said, boss, just register this organization and within 2 months we're going to give you a project and all. So I was at that point in time also I was not very keen, frankly speaking, because I was still very this thing that I'll crack the NIFT Gandhinagar, which I cracked.
Wow.
Which I
Wow.
cracked also, and thanks to two people, one is Manvendra and one is Sonal Mehta. They didn't, they didn't let me kind of go in NIFT. So that was it. But then they said that okay, it's better to design human lives rather than design clothes. So
This
it's
is a
still
brilliant quote. I take this quote.
so and they said that there will be thousands of gay designers. History is full of them, and future will be a lot of them.
Yeah, just
But then-
I'm curious to know. I don't know why. Why is it fashion world has a lot of it's interesting.
It's a lot of aesthetics. So if you look at the best of the fashion industry,
Yeah.
the best of the film industry, makeup, design, interiors, architecture, also. Uh, uh, Not all, because architect is still very. It's a mix. I
It's a
would say.
mix.
But otherwise,
Yeah.
a lot of areas, or I think the whole, I would say the whole patch basically of aesthetics and,
Yeah.
and arts, basically the space, I would say, is much dominated by
Exactly.
gays
Yeah.
and transgenders now, I would say. But yes, a lot of it is with gay guys. They're kind of there, out there. If you look at the best of the films,
Exactly,
aesthetically,
that's what my curiosity was,
Okay.
because I follow fashion. I'm not into it, but I love following and what's
Yeah.
trending and
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
So that, as you said, the top ones, I always see, the transgender people, gay, who doing fab stuff. So I'm always curious, why this? Why them? Rather, it's just my assumption. I'm not much aware
Yeah.
of it. Maybe they like the whole thing of colors, fashion, dressing.
I think so. So what I think is, I think in my case, at least, I would say, yes, I love fashion and all. I it was paintings. It was for me. I think it was art, more of that. But my observation, what I've seen, especially here, is that once again there is no. I would not. So I do not have any scientific. I would say scientific support to kind of put those facts that okay, the research says that a lot of it, but yes, a lot of living experience of people across says that gays, or trans people, basically they dominate the fashion, arts,
The art, the
aesthetics.
whole craft of this is it.
It's basically so. Maybe because a lot of them also identify themselves as, once again, females. But once again, I think it is, having said so, it is also a lot of stereotype. Because if I kind of put them over because everyone is like that. So no, it is not even that, because we have great sports stars. If you go abroad and all, we have a lot of sportsmen who are from the LGBTQI community as well. So once again, it is not. But I would say in the arts, or this arts creative field, I would say the fraternities basically is that it's more open, it's more uh, accepting in many ways. The whole art film industry and all, basically. So even in film industry, if you look at, of course, Karan is there. It's just that he's not saying, and we know that. Okay, so then we have.
He's put it out in this
Yeah.
unsuitable boy.
Yeah, exactly. So is there? Yeah, is there that way? and I'm sure there are others as
There
well
are others.
who are still kind of, they do not want to talk about it.
Yeah.
They're still happy being closeted, which is okay. But then it is predominantly very much
Yeah.
there, I would say.
I also feel in India, like if we go back in time, in the eras of kings and all,
Mm.
we have had history
Yeah.
of transgender people being a part, being respected. It was a part of every royal family, and
Yeah.
their importance and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even back then, because I like history, I like digging things, I like researching what is important.
Mm.
I think people are more open then. People are more appreciative then.
Yeah. So if we look at, like, for example, if we look at Kama Sutra.
Yeah.
So Kama Sutra has a whole same-sex section itself. Okay.
Yeah.
So this was a book which was 2,500 years back, and we were so advanced that we used to actually document the whole thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
Even mythology has
Even mythology. I would say. So, for example, if you look at Jainism has in Jainism they say that there are 5 genders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And there are names of each gender. Purush,
I'm
Stri,
Jane, and trust me, I don't know this.
Kliba is one of the gender.
Okay.
So there are 5 genders.
I
They-
think
they're
that's
not-
documented.
So they're very this thing that we have, so that part is there. Hinduism, of course, a lot of it is there. Okay, so I think the faiths of the East, who were very, I would say, very open about things, and a lot of it also was on the karmic cycle. If you look at Hinduism, if you look at Jainism, Buddhism, everyone basically talks about those cycles of karmas, basically. Okay, so in a way, if I am here, and if, like, you are saying that, okay, you are gay or whatever, then the larger circle is that, well, you are also going to come somewhere into that and also experience that life. That is going, because then you kind of circle the whole human experience. So that is the reason, for example, even if you look at a lot of stories, a lot of characters, basically, in Hinduism, as I said, in Jainism, though, they have clearly kind of said that. So here also we have Vishnu who turns to be a woman.
Yeah.
Okay, Mohini for the Tamrut wala thing. So I think, and even Shiva Shakti, Ardhanarishwara.
Exactly.
Okay, so the
That's
whole
why I
concept
mentioned
of
from mythology to
Yeah.
then the say 17 BC or whatever the generations. So all the king's family, all human like transgender people used to be there,
Yeah.
appreciated. They had their space, their level, their
True.
aura
True.
that we are there, and nobody looked down to them. But what I feel, as we advance and evolve as humans, what we are today, things are going.
So I would say here,
Yeah.
kind of what I would say here is basically we are so much of colonized. The mindset,
Correct.
I would say,
Yeah.
it's we are heavily, deeply colonized. So the moment, for example, invaders started coming in,
Yeah.
till the Britishers, the Dutch and all, especially, they did the most of the havoc in the late times now, I would say. So the whole idea about from top to bottom, so it's only one. Okay, the whole Abrahamic religion, basically, all the Abrahamic faiths, all the 3 faiths, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, all the Abrahamic faiths were they only have one notion that there is only one God and there is only one way to reach it. There is no concept of afterlife. There is no concept of this thing. In the Eastern faith, the film never ends. Okay, there are intervals, there is end, and then there is another film also. And then there is this other film also. Until you are kind of evolved as um, as a Buddha or a Tirthankar or you know
spiritual being who's
whatever
of
you
higher
are.
whatever.
Okay, so it kind of goes on and goes on and
It's
on
on the
and
loop,
on and on.
ongoing.
It's an ongoing loop. So what happened during the British time is that during during a colonial period basically, they actually came up with the sanctions and laws.
Oh.
Yeah. So till Mughals, there was no.
Even Mughals?
No,
Oh.
they were never. They were never.
They were more advanced.
More advanced,
Yeah.
and especially when we look at the trans communities, the whole culture basically, they were quite advanced and all. But it was Lord Macaulay, and it was in those days basically that we were I would say we were codified in for example uh, uh, the law, for example, banning the Nautch girls, the Tawaifs, basically came during the British time. The law banning the transgenders, it came during the British times. The law banning homosexuality, 377, it came during the British times. Uh, so it's of course the law also banning Indians to keep private weapons after 1857 because it was 1857 that the revolt, according to them, revolt, according to us, our first freedom fight came in. So they realized that well, everyone is having a weapon and all, so they started basically licensing the weapons. So it is so it was during those times basically that this whole I would say this whole tradition of banning people, outing people from the mainstream kind of came in. उससे पहले it was there were no laws in that
There
sense.
were no laws. People
there was
were coexisting with
together.
all sexuality,
हाँ,
gender.
genders,
ऐसा कुछ
they were-
नहीं था.
हाँ,
Like what we
वैसा-
study from
हाँ,
books. What
exactly. So there was this thing, but uh, once again, now I think what we are doing is we are I don't know we are getting as a society we are getting more westernized but not modern.
No. True.
That is the problem with this.
Now, just last segment wherein I would really want to talk about Lakshya Trust as organization. Like you mentioned, how did you start the organization, and then the government healthcare sector coming in and all of that. The way it's shaped so far. I think 23 years now.
Yeah.
Almost close to 23 years. So now, what are the challenges you faced running this organization?
Oh.
Maybe many top 5
Yes.
if you can name.
It's a madhouse to start with. Joking. So, as I said, the first, once again, from when we started before 23 years, now also, the major thing which basically comes in is why are you doing this? Unfortunately, still. Is that why you have
And
to
this is from so-called
from
heterosexual.
all basically who are more concerned about us in a way. They do not mind their business. So
Yeah. Thank you.
so that is of course there. But now I would say it's not on the face. It's not like, of course there is a lot of law reforms which has happened. 377 is gone. Marriage equality is coming in now.
Yeah.
We also have the trans protection rights bill
Right.
by the government of India and all. So those are the really, really good positive aspects of it. If I look at challenges, the number one challenge is what I would say, that in still in the social sector, LGBTQI issues are not taken as seriously. They say that, oh, it is a lifestyle, it is a lifestyle choice. Why would I choose a life where every day I'm questioned and I'm pinpointed?
Pinpoint.
Better be heterosexual.
Yeah.
If it is a choice,
Yeah.
it is not. That's the thing. You come with that. You're born with that. It's just that.
Yeah.
So that's one. Second, I would say, because of that, there is a lot. There is only a very shrinking kind of fund which is there.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we, of course, HIV programs has historically been there and all, so they have done a lot of it. But then, if we look at the CSR angle,
Yeah.
the corporate social responsibility angle, hardly you will find top companies actually investing in LGBTQ
LGBT.
issues.
Correct.
I would say
Correct.
they would rather go with the traditional ones of feeding child,
Child,
which is
yeah.
good. I think I'm not kind of taking one against the other, not at all. But with the changing times and with the changing period, I would say whatever is happening, whatever the changing dynamics of the country, I would say it's more important to also focus on this. Uh, Trans issues once again are a big challenge, because though there have been reforms in the law, but not up to the mark, I would say. So, for example, I'm just giving an example that in Gujarat we have a transgender welfare board, but government is hardly interested in kind of functioning it or running it that way. So a lot of it is on the papers, but then when you really want things to be implemented, it is still a challenge.
So execution is
So
a challenge.
execution is any day a challenge that way. So yeah, that is it. But having said so, we do have organizations and agencies who back the cause, who are there, who fund us. But I would say it is not only about funding; it is also about, a lot of it is about mainstreaming the issues. Okay, if you mainstream it, because I would expect from Ambani or Adani's to actually mainstream issues of transgenders, LGBTQI in their workplace policies, for example. What, for example, Godrej has done, what Tata's have done,
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
what Azim Premji,
Yes.
Wipro, they have open LGBTQI workplace policies in
Yes, they have. Yes.
So
that's how it is.
if
Yeah.
these are the big
Big houses
corporates
are, yeah.
who are doing it, what stops my Guju friends to do this?
Or SMEs or MSME people. too.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think that is one I would say challenge in a way. But once again, I think the biggest challenge still remains is uh, the attitude of people, the misconceptions, basically, because a lot of people really do not actually know what LGBTQI actually is. They would kind of either fantasize, yeah, फिर they would, they would say, oh my God, this is they would give a very
Cold response.
not cold is not the word, but they would say they are bicharas or something like that.
Pitying.
Pitying, the whole aspect of pitying. Here we are communities, and we look, if we are born to heterosexual parents, and still we find our ways. Everything is opposite stream, and still we, if we can swim through,
Yeah.
swim through the tide, I would say. uh, Communities and people are intelligent, smart. They just need an equality platform.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
What are the again? I would like to know if you face any financial obstacles while
Oh
in
yes.
the organization. Or
So-
what do you? How do you do? What do you do to overcome it? See, since I just said I was coming through and I saw the board. You have Government of India, so you are backed again by the government.
I have a story. Yeah.
So, yes. I'm sure as because this is a business.
Yeah.
In one way.
So look, what happens here? So this is a social enterprise. So this is a business of serving people. So what happens here is that yes, we are backed by. So we have like two major portions of our finances which are kind of taken care of by different governments. One is state government,
Yeah.
which is the Gujarat State AIDS Control Society, but most long-standing projects in Baroda, Surat, Rajkot, all the three places. Initially, there used to be there used to be fund crunches because the funds never used to come in time. The grants were always late and all those things. But then we've kind of come up with this corpus funds.
Yeah.
Okay, so which we kind of save from different things. There are donations also from people, a lot of donations from abroad basically, and we kind of save that money and put it in our corpus, so that when the government fund doesn't come, this kind of takes care of it. So we make sure that none of our staff members, it is never percolated to the staff members' salaries. Never.
How many employees
In-
Lakshya Trust has as a whole?
As a whole, we have 75 to 80 full-time employees.
All three
All the
cities
three,
combined.
all the three cities combined, and 150 part-time field workers
Yeah.
working at
Freelance
the
or
field.
part-time.
Yeah. So that is it. So this is about the state government fund, but the central government fund basically we run a shelter home for transgender people. The first, which was opened in India in Baroda. So they are more funny because they only give the whole trench once in a year.
Oh.
And sometimes what happens, it exceeds 1 year. So the fund comes, but the problem is that if it doesn't come on time, it doesn't serve the purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. So once again, through our corpus and through our own, I would say, giving, we basically kind of manage that part of the central government project. The state government projects and all, they are kind of pretty now, since a lot of years they've been working, so now they know how to navigate.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what do you think? What is the road ahead for Lakshya Trust? What's your vision, future, say 5 years, 10 years down the line? What next?
What next is we so Lakshya in many ways have done a lot of work nationally as well as internationally through Malvendra. But yes, we are very clear that we will be based out of Gujarat only. We do not want to kind of expand and go to Delhi and all because there are other organizations who are doing there in Delhi and in other states also, which keeps our energies focused. So since it is Gujarat based, we know that we are kind of whatever we have to manage, it is within certain people, certain geography, and that's one. So that's one. But within that, yes, we are going to, we are already kind of, playing a state level role and a lot of it. But what we are going to do is we want to cater elderly LGBTQI populations now. So 55 plus, 60 plus populations who are either lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender communities. We want to intervene in those spaces now, especially social security benefits, pension benefits, old age pension, and stuff like that. Health, importantly, very, very, very important. because a lot of us are single, living in houses who are either kind of alone or with maybe one family member or two family members, not more than that. Uh, and we have to navigate the world also. So I think those aspects is what the elderly population is what I'm looking at. I'm also looking at and that's a very personal thing, is I will be uh, in some time, I don't know when, but I will be also opening an ashram, and that would be LGBT inclusive, yoga, meditation, a lot of other things basically around spirituality and all. So that's what I want to kind of do. That is it. But yes, I see Lakshya as doing a lot of work in uh, the elderly care, as well as a lot of work in livelihood for the rural LGBT population. So livelihood, when I say, is basically looking at handicrafts, looking at embroidery, handicraft materials, and all, and basically training the people, and then kind of getting the products to the market, and then so that is also one other, is that we maybe a part of us will go into for profit also in the future.
Just what is the plus in LGBTQI plus? I really want to know.
So
Is it that because there
it's
might
ever
be
expanding, yeah.
it's expanding?
You hit it.
Right.
You hit it. So it is ever expanding. Basically, it will be huh, to check it out. So it is going to be like LGBTQIA plus, and also plus also stands for all the allies. Whoever are, A of course is asexual. A lot of people use for asexual, and a lot of people also use for allies. And plus is all the people who are inclusive, who wants to support. Because now, if you look at the gay rallies, the pride rallies and all,
Right.
even in Bombay and the cities, the association of, like for example, gay parents. Okay. So mothers will be holding those placards. I'm proud my son is gay.
Yeah.
I support him and all. So now that mother is a heterosexual.
Right.
Okay, she is of course not from the community, but she is a very close ally, very very strong ally. Then we have employees, employers actually. So we have, for example, Mastercard. They have shown interest in the Pride of Baroda, which is going to happen after 1 month. Okay, so Mastercard is a very very mainstream company. Okay, so they have approached us and they said that okay, now we want to do this. So once again, Mastercard is a corporate.
Yeah.
Okay, so now they are plus. So you come in,
Oh,
whoever
nice.
is in.
That's a good
Yeah.
thing.
So karwa banta gaya, it is how.
So have you succeeded in supporting the community with jobs?
Big time. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So
Any number you'd like to
yeah,
give?
yeah, yeah. So basically, and that was also once again, this is if your heart is at the right place, things happen. So when we started our shelter home on the second floor of this building, basically, so the shelter home basically houses 25 people ideally. Okay, and जब कम होते हैं तो हम उसको थोड़ा other rooms are closed. Otherwise, we are kind of all the three flats are kind of really open and that. So here people come from very different backgrounds and who have gone through very difficult situations. Okay, so we have people coming at 12 o'clock in the night and knocking us that love, we're thrown up. We've heard that there is Lakshya who has this thing from Instagram, from WhatsApp. So they basically come and approach us. So now what happens that these are young people. These are trans men. These are trans women who are who have just come with a bag. Sometimes not even with a bag. just kind of come. So what we've done through the Garimagra is the name of the shelter home. So what we've done through Garimagra is we've very consciously advocated with a lot of multinational companies around the world. So we have Bombardier, we have ABB, we have Alstom, we have Seat tires.
Wow.
Okay, then we have there is this Concentrix call center. Then we have Shell petrol pump.
Wow.
So Lakshya Trust's Garimagra is the only Garimagra in India where 99% of the residents are doing one or the other job.
Fantastic.
We are very clear. You come here within 10 days. Whatever I know people come from very difficult situations and all. Either I can crib and cry all my life, or either I clean it and then I say, okay, fine, what's the job? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I think second is a better option.
Definitely.
So what we generally give 1 week to people. You rest, you take care of your mental health. We have counselors who kind of take care of that, and then they are placed on the jobs. We have, in fact, Tata Steel, uh, Bokaro. There we had 4 people with the job letters in their hands and with the flight tickets from here.
Wow.
Yeah. So
This is great.
yeah. So we've been doing that also, and otherwise also we have a lot of job providers who come to us and who say that we would really like to get them. We want to kind of engage
Yeah.
people into this. So that's really
Just
good.
do you have anything that you want to say to the society in general, or our listeners in general?
So what I would actually want to convey is free your mind and the rest will follow. uh, very important is to have an understanding. LGBTQI is as natural as someone who is being left-handed or right-handed. If someone is right-handed, one is right-handed. Majority people of them are right-handed. There are some people who are left-handed also. So being left-handed is not natural. It is just different. So we have to understand the difference of being different and to be open about understanding that difference. So I think the journey starts from here. It's basically the mind, and one of the Sanskrit verses basically says that tamasoma jyotirgamaya, lead me towards the light from darkness. So I think it is very important for people to understand and more importantly to educate oneself. I'm sure the listeners of this podcast are most of the young people, and it is hip and cool to be educated, isn't it? So get the right knowledge and get yourself educated, and all the clutter basically will go out.
Definitely, Lakshya Trust is there to support you.
Surely,
Yes.
very much. And once again, to the listeners who are from the community, importantly, never think that you're alone, um, because there are crores of them, not lakhs, across the world. Okay, so you may be in a situation which is maybe different or difficult, or you may be isolated in a different corner, but that doesn't mean that you're only one and you're alone. There are organizations, individuals. Just Google search LGBTQI groups in India, LGBTI groups in which part of India. You will just get that information. Importantly, Lakshya Trust, we are very much here, and if anyone wants to reach out, I can give my number as well, and that can be circulated or splashed here or whatever. But yeah, that's basically it.
Thank you so much. It was pleasure talking to you. Even I got a lot of insights, lot of my curiosity and questions from the right person. I got to know. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for being on my podcast.
Thank you.
And you are the first one for my podcast today. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
So thank you, and I wish you all the best.
You.
And may this podcast really, really
It will. I started
Rock
with you,
it.
so it will. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice.